guys. Oh, hey.
Thank God.
Woo!
It's another Super Go Sunday.
So today we're talking about being in quarantine with your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend if you live together. And you're just like, I'm choking. Like, I love you, but I'm not used to spending this much time with you. I'm used to going to work. I'm used to laying in the bed, drinking wine and reading a book in the middle of the day in solitude. That's a lot of the stay-at-home moms that I, was friends with. That's some of the stuff that they do.
Okay.
You want to go to the mall, but you can't. You want to simply, like today, we drove uptown and we were just like, oh my God, uptown buildings. You want to do those things, but you can't.
You want to go to the store and dress up nice and not have to feel like you're wasting an outfit because as soon as you hit your door, you have to take off your clothes and put them immediately in the washing machine. And nobody's seeing you anyway. You just like really took a picture for other people to see because you want to feel some type of normalcy. That's how I feel sometimes.
Well, okay.
Okay. I just have to get that out.
Yeah, so it's in the wake of COVID-19. What is it doing to your relationship, your marriage? Like mentally, this is something that I've never experienced in my life. Nothing I could have imagined. I'm with my children 90% of the time.
99% of the time. You're really with them a lot.
I am, and the pearl to that is I'm learning my children.
Yep.
I'm learning who they are as people and what they find funny and little things, but it's very stressful. And so I'm not really experiencing it with you because you're out of the house for so long. Mm-hmm. But when you come back into the house, there is a little bit of resentment there because he's an essential worker, and so you still get to go out into the world and socialize.
Right.
Sometimes it's hard for me not to take into consideration that my husband is out there risking his life, that he's also fearful that he's going to get some airborne disease that may or may not kill him. You never know which side of the fence you're going to be on because COVID-19, as we've all witnessed, certain people are healed and certain people lose their lives to this thing, right? So he's going out there every day with or without a mask on, with gloves on, and fighting to make sure that he can provide for us, right? So then he comes home and I'm like, because I've been with these kids all day.
Right.
Okay, I had to educate them. I had to whatever, we go into. And then it's like, but what about me? There's no me. But then when you're in a marriage, you have to go, but like, what about you too? So on Saturdays when we initially started.
That's hard.
It is. Mm-hmm. And when this initially started on Saturdays, you were you were trying to do everything for the kids.
What you mean?
Like you would wake up on Saturdays and
be
like
the
Saturday
teeth
parent.
And be the Saturday parent.
Right. And so it occurred to me one day that wasn't fair. And so, unbeknownst to Sharif, because I don't even think he's figured it out yet, I have been swapping Saturdays with him. And so this was his Saturday, but he didn't know. I didn't put it out there. I just was like, you gonna brush the kids' teeth this day? Because I think you need to sleep in too. Because just like I'm working harder in the home, you're working harder in the world.
Right.
And I think that it's important. So that's the first thing I would like to say. It's important to be cognizant that you and your spouse or your partner are really both under mental duress.
And I think, now, I don't know what your reasoning behind that is. For me, I think when you're acknowledging, like you said, that, what was that nice term that you just used? Mental arrest?
Mental duress.
Mental duress. Oh, I like that.
Thank you,
when both you and your partner are in mental duress. I like that. When you acknowledge it, I think there's a sense of, I guess I can say,
sensitivity,
appreciation, sensitivity, but one word that I like to use because I think it just encompasses a whole lot is gratitude. I think gratitude, because once you really acknowledge that this person that I'm stuck in the house with is also feeling feelings that are similar to me, it may look different, but when you get down to the real nitty-gritty of it, it's the same. You start to feel grateful for the fact that you know, they woke up with at least a smile on their face, or like you guys had a conversation. I mean, the atmosphere could be like way more toxic and negative. You know what I mean? Well, at least I'm speaking right here. When you wake up and I see you cook, or I see you entertain our children, and you have time to sip your tea and also make time for conversation with me, that's something that I can acknowledge. Like, yo, you are feeling the funk too, and you're operating still. You know what I mean? That's a place to be. That's a reason to be grateful.
Okay.
So that's what I think the acknowledgement does. What about you? You just said the word sensitivity.
I think that because I think I can speak for a lot of stay-at-home moms specifically, when, you know, this is insane.
Yes.
This is insane. And I feel bitterness inside my soul. I try to put on a good face for the kids.
Your husband?
Towards you and the kids. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
like, I don't even want kids. How did I even end up with kids? You know, and then they're peacefully sleeping, and I'm like, oh my God, Lord, like, but don't let them all die, because
Right.
like, I'll die. I love my kids. I like my kids, but this pandemic is making me rethink marriage and children.
Right.
And it's making me think maybe I would have been okay as a secret lover to someone who had all this, and I didn't have to deal with this.
Right.
Because the thing about it is, when you have children, and I think this is where you were going in the first recording, when you have children, as soon as they exit your body, if you don't give them up for adoption, boom, you're responsible. May it be a pandemic or cancer or a mental ailment or bad behavior. You're responsible for these people.
Right.
And that responsibility can be oversaturating.
Right.
And then at some point, grandma comes over and she gets the kids. Or grandpa takes them out for golf. Or they go to school. They go to school.
Right.
They go to school for like 8 hours a day. And someone else teaches them what they need to think. Or, you know, yeah. And then they come home to you, and hopefully you teach them how to think, which
Right.
are two completely different things. And it's not, you don't just feel suffocated
Right.
by these responsibilities.
Right.
So I say that the sensitivity part, because by me putting myself in the frame of mind that Sharif is out there risking his life,
Right.
coming into contact with people, although I'm dealing with it in a different form inside.
And you're saying something great, because another thing too, when you acknowledge that your partner is experiencing like emotions, then, you know, you don't feel isolated. You don't feel like you're on your own island. There's anxiety that comes with loneliness. You know what I'm saying? When you feel like you're the only person that is holding all this weight on you, there's a loneliness factor. And it sounds weird, because usually when you're around a lot of people, you know, people can bring different emotions and drama and stuff, and that causes anxiety. But there's anxiety in loneliness. And once you can acknowledge that we are sharing something together, then it's not just a me on the island, it's we're on this island.
Let's
You know
talk
what I'm
about
saying?
what happened in the car today. That
What?
will be a good story.
What?
So we're driving, and we're talking about loneliness.
Okay.
And how this whole thing is wrapped up. And you're like, oh man, I'm so tired of being in this neighborhood.
Oh, yeah,
I'm so
yeah.
tired of going, even though I'm in these stores, I'm seeing the same workers, I'm seeing the same shoppers, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yeah, I understand. And you're like, oh. And it kind of shut you down.
It did, right.
And I think that you thought.
Right, because what I thought was, I expressed the plight, and she was like, well, my plight is worse than yours, because at least you're going to outside and driving to these stores, even if it's the same stores, you're outside.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, so I shut myself up.
And I'm sorry that I did that to you in that moment.
Well,
like, I'm sorry that I made you feel.
Don't be sorry, because you said, like, right there on the spot.
Right, but if
You know what I'm
something that I'm doing made you feel that way. So that's just that. So that's the first point. The first point is be aware that although this is very stressful for you, there are stresses in it for your partner as well, whether they're going outside the home or whether they're working harder inside the home or whatever. Just be sensitive to the fact that this is a national issue, not a personal one.
Be aware, right? So be aware and acknowledge, not to yourself, I think, but to but to your partner. Like, share that experience with them. Be aware, but also acknowledge that you both are experiencing something.
Right. And next, I think it's important to do something that you would have done when you were like 7 years old, right?
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. So like me, I bought myself some skates today.
Yes.
And
tell them what we did today. Tell
we
them what
went
did
bike
today. Come on,
riding.
come on.
We went bike riding with our kids, but
Yes.
that was for the kids. I bought some skates for me.
Right.
Okay. I like rollerblading. I like it. I love it. And what I noticed is
Of it.
when you do things that not the things that you did when you were an adult, hobbies that you picked up in adulthood, or things that you did as a teenager when life was crazy and you were trying to figure something. Like, go back to early childhood and do something that really makes you laugh from your belly, from your
Right.
gut. Because I think that it's healthy in this. It stops you from obsessing over COVID-19.
And see, so for you, like it was for you purchasing the skates, and for me, it was when we were, even though we were with our children, when we were riding those bikes, I felt really invigorated because honestly, I haven't rode a bike in just pure joy and just for the heck of it since I was a kid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was really a cool
Right.
experience.
It
With or
was
without
real-
your family.
Right.
You need to do this. Please trust me, and please comment and let us know how it worked out for you.
Yes.
And the third point that we wanted to make is get your butt up and get dressed, honey.
Boom.
Get dressed.
What do you mean?
Get dressed.
Chiefy. What
Your
do you
husband
mean?
or wife is still on social, even more so. Don't hate social media. Be grateful for it. Because
Embrace that thing.
Embrace
Listen,
it.
I'll tell you what Felicia and I do. We go on TikTok almost every night and we get dressed and we dance or we do whatever TikTok idea that we have and we enjoy ourselves and we post that thing on social. And if not for other people, it's for us. For us to look back and say, yo.
all day we
did
were
that.
parents. All day we were
All day we were
parents.
parents and
And
we got
look,
to experience.
And look,
Right.
we look like two little
It's
kids
like-
dancing and
right.
having fun.
It's like we went Bruce Wayne to Batman,
It's-
just like that. You know
it
what I'm
is
saying?
good.
It was just like straight work and doing what we had to do, and then at nighttime, the freaks come out at night. We just
yeah,
doing,
but not even at
You know what I mean?
nighttime. During the day.
during the day.
Take
yeah.
a shower. Do not put on leggings or basketball shorts. Put on clothes.
This even just to boost. This is not just to even boost yourself, but it will ultimately. But I want you to let them know, what do you do every morning, even during the time that you're educating the children. Like their teeth get brushed, and then what do you do?
Whoa.
With Saya, what do you do with our daughter?
I do her hair.
You do her hair, and then what do you do with our oldest son?
I do his hair.
And then what do you do with our youngest son?
I do his hair.
And then what do you put on them?
Clothes.
Exactly. That's the point. You know what I'm saying? Like, they get dressed for the day. So much to at first, our children are like, Mom, are we going somewhere? Mom, are we going somewhere? And they're like, no, baby, we just about to stay at home. Do what we got to do.
But you should feel good.
Yeah, you should feel
Looking
good
good
doing
is scientifically proven
Word.
to increase self-esteem.
Word.
Get some clothes on, okay? You need to still never stop trying to impress the person that you're
Dress
married
to
to.
impress, baby.
Never stop. I mean,
Right.
maybe your spouse doesn't care about clothing. Maybe it's perfume. Maybe it's eyeliner. Maybe it's your hair. I don't know what it is, but be aware that I'm looking at this face every day. A lot of us can't go get haircuts. I cut my guy's hair. You know what I mean? So when I get too fed up, I'm like, all right, let me edge up or something.
Yep.
But like, a lot of people are around here looking scruffy. I don't want you guys to leave alcoholics or obese or divorced. Okay? So just keep in mind that you're in quarantine to save a lot of lives. Don't end your own.
Boom.
Yeah, so that would be my final message.
I like that.
And it's really easy to get trapped up and forget, you know, what life is about. It's this pandemic has brought out a lot of good things for us.
It has.
You know, we've been enjoying our backyard and our babies and one another, but it's because of what we're telling you to do. We've really been trying to turn this bad situation into a good situation for our family. I don't want my kids to feel what they feel anyway. You know, your kids they're sad. They miss their friends. Their teachers. They miss their lives.
Right.
So don't make it worse by being miserable and being mean spirited and keeping them in a house with, you know, electronics.
Right.
Just go outside, get some air. And
Right.
you might not have a backyard. You may only have a stoop. Sit there. Get
Right.
some chalk. You know, next time you go pick up groceries, pick up some chalk.
Word.
Right on a driveway. You know, like I just know I'm thinking of inexpensive things that you can do for yourself, and it begins with putting on some clothes,
Put the kid dressed.
appreciating your spouse,
Yep.
and remembering you are not in this alone.
Right.
We're all in it together. And just do something youthful. Youth is a good thing.
Yes, it is. It's invigorating. It keeps you young.
Right.
You know what I mean? Youth is awesome. I don't know. I'm a preacher. So when someone just preached a good word, you drop that mic and you don't go over the preacher. I don't have anything to finish from that point. You made like great
Thank you, baby.
great points right there, babe.
Thank
You
you.
really did.
I got lots of time to think about it. Remember, guys, when something seems bad,
Turn
turn
it
it around
around.
and make something good.
Blessings.